Last but not the least, George Abraham, the CEO of Skoll Foundation and Ashoka Fellow, whose initiative runs Eyeway, a one-stop point for all the information related to the visually impaired. He has a mathematics honours and post-graduation in operations research from St. Stephen's College and is the chairman of the Association of Cricket for Blind in India. Fast bowler himself has organized the Cricket World Cup for the blind.
Last but not the least, George, over to you.
Last but not the least, nevertheless. So long live nevertheless. Okay, I've come to the land of Rahul Dravid, B.S. Chandrasekhar, G.R. Vishwanath, Shekhar Naik, all cricketers. Who is Shekhar Naik? Any idea? Shekhar Naik is the cricket captain of the Indian blind cricket team, and he comes from the city. So it is appropriate for me to start my brief presentation with cricket. And believe it or not, I have spent a significant part of my childhood in this state. I think it's the north of Karnataka, a place called, they used to call it Hubballi. Hubli Dharwad, right? And it was in the 1960s, through the middle of 1970s, and I grew up with the dream of being a fast bowler. A fast bowler like Dennis Lillee and Jeff Thompson. You guys heard of them? They are Australian fast bowlers who terrorize batsmen from across the world. And my dream was either clean bowl the batsman or send him to the hospital. But then, as I grew up, I realized that I had a vision impairment, and cricket was not necessarily my cup of tea. So I had to give it up and carry on with life. Went to college, did my honours in mathematics and then MA, and then I started working in an advertising company. And in 1989, I happened to have the good fortune of visiting a school for the blind in Dehradun, where I was woken up by the sound of cricket commentary. A voice said, Kapil Dev moves into bowl to Gundappa Vishwanath. And I said, boss, we are in Dehradun. Where is Kapil Dev? Where is Vishwanath? It's a blind school. So I went out very quickly and had a look. And I found that the group of boys were playing cricket. They were playing cricket, and when I went closer, I found it was the wicket keeper who was giving the commentary. When the ball was going to the offside, it's gone to the square leg boundary. When the ball went past the bowler, he says, gone to the third man region. Visually impaired people, blind people in various schools for the blind, organizations for the blind also got fascinated by the game. I see a cricket match, a test match as a crime thrilling novel. You have the heroes, you have a plot, you have the villains, and at the end of the day, you have a conclusion. A plot is there and a plot is solved. And cricket has that fascinating ability to draw people. I'm sure all sports do, because I shouldn't be saying this sitting next to Malti Holla, but I will still say it since I have the microphone. She doesn't have one just now. So cricket has a fascination, and blind people also got excited about the game. And in various schools, it was seen that they were rolling tins on the ground and hitting it with sticks. And that's when it was realized that blind people could play cricket using a ball that made sound. Now the point which comes through here is that when you are passionate about something, you will find a way to do it. This is the point not only for blind people, it's for everybody in this room. If you are passionate about something, you will find a way to do it. Now, and your way of doing it may not necessarily be the way everybody else does it. Rahul Dravid plays cricket seeing the ball. Shekhar Naik plays the cricket hearing the ball. But still, it is cricket, it is fascinating, and people who come to watch enjoy both formats of the game. So, it is not how you do it, it's not what you, it's not the task, but how you do the task. And that's when, we talk about using computers, you have JAWS, and I don't want to get into all that because previous speakers have already spoken. But what I want to say is, at this point of time, when I saw these guys playing cricket, I had a dream. And the dream was, you have the Ranji Trophy, the Duleep Trophy, Test matches, one-day internationals, the World Cup. In 1990, I had a dream that we need to have a cricket structure and a World Cup for blind cricketers. And that dream, when I shared it with various people, they said, oh, come on, yeah, it's a pipe dream, But then, I had it in my mind, and over the next 8 years, we worked out national tournaments, regional tournaments, and finally, in 1998, we organized the first World Cup. Now, again, the lesson which I learned on this journey was that if you have the 5 Ds of life, any goal can be achieved. And what are these 5 Ds? Number 1, you need to have a dream. Number 2, you need to have a genuine desire to chase that dream. And the more difficult things are the next 3 Ds, which is you need to have the discipline, the dedication, and the determination. And if you have these 5 Ds, be it a World Cup of cricket, be it any kind of achievement, you can get there. You will find a way to get there. So we started IWAY. IWAY has a radio program called IWAY Ye Hai Roshni Ka Karwa, which broadcasts from 30 cities. We have an SMS alert service called IWAY News, which is today subscribed to over 2,000 people across India again. We have something called the IWAY website, www.iway.org. I have only 2 minutes, so I need to finish fast. And then we do training programs, where again we travel and address things like communication skills, personality development, employability, so on and so forth. And today we have a helpline where we get 45 to 50 calls every week from across India from visually impaired people who want to make something of their lives. So that is IWAY. But what I want to share with you today is just 3 points. Number 1, I happen to be a member of the steering committee of the 12th 5-year plan. And in this 5-year plan, in our first meeting, the government said that nearly 60 to 70% of the allocated funds and the allocated programs are still not done, and they've just got 1 more year. And then they were talking about various things, and the sense I got was that the government is all the time looking at providing for people with disability. And I say that there needs to be a paradigm shift. It's not about providing for people with disability, it's about investing in people with disability. People with disability are part of our country's human resource. Think about it. If I can do what I'm doing, if Subramani can do what he's doing, if Malati Holla can do what she's doing, various software engineers, various HR professionals who are disabled doing what they're doing, it's quite justified for me to say that we are part of the human resource of this country. Point number 2. Clapping time also counted? Okay. The second point I'd like to make is that when we look at a majority of people who come out of schools and colleges, people with disability, especially out of schools, across the country I'm talking about, there is a definite disparity between the quality of students between the mainstream schools and schools of the disabled. And sad to say, most schools for the disabled, I might say it, I might get hit outside when I go, but I will say it still. Most schools that deal with people with disability tend to compromise. Blind people cannot learn mathematics. After 7th standard, don't learn mathematics. But remember one thing, mathematics is a subject which is very essential for the development of your mind. It brings in logic skills, it brings in communication skills, ability to look at things in precise forms, clarity of thinking, all this are qualities that a study of mathematics brings to the table. And if a blind person is taken off mathematics in class 7, you know what you're depriving him or her about. Likewise, I can go on and on. What I want to say, the point I'd like to make is that if we are looking at blind and disabled people as part of our human resource and invest in education, quality education right from the primary level, and that is important. No compromise, no sympathy. Third point. Today when we talk about a person being disabled, expectations are extremely low. You say, after all he's blind, yeah, what can you do? Or after all he's on a wheelchair, what can you do? Or she do, you know? So, expectations of people with disability, right from the Prime Minister down to our parents, don't expect too much about us. And lucky, the blessed are us, a few of us, whose parents expected high things from us. And that's probably why I am here what I am doing today. Because my mother once told me when I was a kid, son, one day I would like to write your biography. And that speaks of the high expectations she had. Now the other thing which I want to say is, this is the last point I'd like to make, and this is prompted by an answer I heard in the last session, which one of the panelists gave, and he said that corporates are here to make money. Yes, corporates are definitely here to make money for their stakeholders. But remember, we disabled people too are stakeholders. We too are consumers. Are your products accessible to us? IBM talks about hiring visually impaired people. IBM talks about hiring disabled people. But are the IBM products accessible? Likewise, various other companies who talks about, doing good, employing. I hope I'm not throwing a spade. What's the thing? Spanner in the wheel, spanner in the works. But this is my gut feel that corporates have started getting onto the bandwagon, thanks to Enable India and the works. Let's employ people with disability. But do they have disability? And every citizen, the entire gamut of diverse people in our country in their consumer list? Do they design products which are universally designed? A term that Anjali Agarwal would use. Are the products that these various corporates designed for use of people with disability? There are, according to the government, nearly 22 million disabled people in this country. And the reality is, if you go by what WHO says, 15% of the population are disabled. That's the latest figure. They used to say 10%, but now they say it's 15%. So, are the corporates overlooking this huge market? So, I'd just like you guys to think about these points. I was trying to keep awake, and that's why I was, speaking the way I did. I hope you guys are awake too. Thank you.